Okay, so let's consider a brief case study about tokenization and how this concept applies to real assets that matter. So before I became the director here at Libertas Alpha Academy, I was a student of agriculture. Now you see, this concept is a concept that involves everybody. It concerns everybody, and it's a concept that you can benefit from. So as a student of agriculture, I got fascinated with the ease at which agriculture can make an economy thrive. In fact, there is no industrialization without agriculture, right? And we are going to be considering a coffee farm in Ethiopia, 2 hectares of premium assets. So the traditional model to interact with this asset is quite simple. Ownership through shares in a centralized stakeholder company. Now, this model relies heavily on trust, right? And it's quite gated. So, for people who are not within that particular country, within the particular regulatory environment, they will not be able to participate. So, even if that person is in Europe and wants to, get some investments into the coffee production that he really loves as a coffee person, he can't. You see, there are so many restrictions. But now, when we go to the tokenized model, it becomes very simple. Digital tokens on the blockchain define an exact contract, and this model is backed by code and smart contracts. So we can represent the coffee farm in different ways, not just outright shares, right? We can say, okay, we're giving you a part of the revenue of this farm every year, every quarter. We can say we're giving you a part of the commodity ownership of this farm. I mean, when we harvest the coffee and we process it, you're entitled to a certain number of tons of coffee fruits. So you see, the flexibility there becomes very different, and anybody who can connect to that network, regardless of which country they are in, can participate in owning that asset. Now, this is possible because of tokenization. So, tokenization allows savvy investors to invest or own a piece of global assets with transparency. And it also goes without saying that the gatekeepers are gone. There are no more gatekeepers here. Because of tokenization, anybody on the internet can find a network, walk into it, and own a stake in it. This has never been the case, and it's only getting better. All right, so we must consider as well several different clear advantages of tokenization before we go into the rest of the course. You'll be expected to interact with some of the resources that will be attached to this course under the resource section, and you will also be expected to interact with the LinkedIn post and capture a little aspect of what you have learned here today. I expect to connect with you from that post, and if you want to keep in contact with me, that will be a good start. Once I see your post and I know you're from Libertas Alpha Academy, definitely we can journey together on LinkedIn. Yes. Okay, some advantages of tokenization include decentralization. It ushers in a decentralized environment, peer-to-peer interactions without centralized intermediaries. Also, it is code backed because we're using smart contracts encoded on the blockchain. You can't just get up and change the policies and change the contract, right? It's very, very code backed. It's borderless. Anybody from anywhere in the world. Fast settlements because definitely we are on real time speed, and the code is also automated. We also have premium accounting because the blockchain is a database and it's public. It makes accounting very, very easy, and record keeping as well very, very seamless. We also have automated cash flow. With automated cash flow, is basically that the shareholders or the owners of the particular asset are very obvious. So there's no much documentation to process and all that. Using smart contracts, we can define who the money goes to and how it flows. If we're looking at assets that are tradable, that is, but for assets that are not tradable, such as certificates, it also helps, direct ownership, clear ownership of who has that particular certificate without any much delay. We also have fractional ownership for tradable assets. There's lower entry and enhanced risk spread. So many assets in the past could not be owned by multiple people, but today the case is different. That farm in Ethiopia can be owned by you and I and this class, you know, of students, and we would have opportunity to own several different assets within the Libertas Alpha network as time goes on. Also, there's easy diversification. You don't need to have the same assets on your portfolio anymore. You can diversify because you can spread your risk across different classes, and there's no boundaries, there's no barriers of entry. So you can easily diversify. So, in conclusion, we have explored how physical assets evolved through the internet and by blockchain technology, and we've established that tokenization is the bridge that brings transparency, security, global access to traditional valuables. And definitely, I'm happy to be the one who facilitated this module for you. It is something that is a privilege for me to be able to transfer this knowledge to the up and coming people within our ecosystem. You can move now to module 2. If you complete this, you take the quiz, just a few questions to verify that you understood what we discussed here. You also have resources that concern exactly the introduction, and you can dive deeper into the technical architecture and other aspects of tokenization. Definitely, you have been empowered, and I hope to see you within the ecosystem. God bless you.